Welcome back to the channel, the Tamara Temu Collective, where dreams have no filter. Are you ready for another conversation about strategy? Of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So let's continue on. So strategy leads to comparison. And I talked about this in the last video. That video got a little bit lengthy, so I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on how strategy can lead to comparison. So you've got the strategy, right? Or you have worked this strategy before and you have worked so hard. I mean, worked yourself to the bone, limited rest, you have hustled, you have grinded, you've done all that. So now you've completed everything on that strategy list. You've got it perfectly planned out. You've even created, your strategy and your task list for a quarter, probably for the year. That's what I did. Um, and so now you've done everything and you're looking at the results and they seem to be flat. As a matter of fact, you may be thinking, well, there are no results. Where are they? Where nothing. Then you start to compare your results or lack of with other people. And then pretty soon, before you know it, you're caught in this loop of comparison. And I'm going to say this again. Comparison is kryptonite to any dream, any vision, any goal, any next level way of being for you. It is kryptonite, period. It does not work. Comparison and your next level do not go together. They cannot coexist. That's what strategy can do, though. It can cause you to compare yourself to other people. So comparison, then after, you've done the comparison and you're thinking, I've worked so hard. I've worked so hard and nothing. I put all these resources. I put resources meaning time and money being the two biggest things. So, for example, the first time I launched my clothing line, it was strategy riddled. Okay. I didn't sleep, barely ate. I remember losing a bunch of weight. I remember one of my friends showed me a picture of myself that I didn't recognize because I had gotten so small, because I wasn't taking time to take care of myself. Why? Because I got this strategy to follow. I don't have time. I wasn't spending, time with family, friends, wasn't spending that quality time. And then when I would be around, the people in my life, there was a time limit. I was constantly I was not present. I was constantly thinking, wow, I'm just sitting here at this restaurant, or I'm just sitting here at their house. I'm just sitting here. I could be working. So I was never present. I was following strategy though. I was working really hard though. And I thought, if I just keep doing this, I'm going to get the results because I'm doing all of this right. I am sacrificing like the strategy says I'm supposed to. And I did that. There were several rounds of that whole cycle. Okay. That wasn't just one time. That was over some years. Didn't get the results. Then what happens is you start to resent. First, you start to resent everything. You start to resent, you even start to resent your own goal. You even start to resent your own dream. Then after you go through that, then you start to negate all of the time, all of your time and your efforts. Because you may not be seeing the results in the physical, but understand this: all the time and all those efforts, it built you, it built something else in you, it opened up your mind, your intellect in a way that can be beneficial to you. It pushed you, and this is how I had to change my perspective. So instead of me resenting all of that time or negating all the things that I did, I had to really go internal and say, okay, something good had to come from all of those years and all that time and all that money. So, in fact, it did. It built more strength, more perseverance. I realized that I wasn't giving myself credit to be able to handle certain things, to be able to handle crisis, crisis, it's different levels, right? So if you've experienced a crisis, but there's levels, okay? So it made me realize that I wasn't giving myself enough credit for what I can manage and what I can handle. It opened up genius in me that I had not tapped into. And it changed my perspective, not just on how business can be, but just how life can be. So if you're in a situation right now, if you're feeling, well, I put in all this time and this money and none of my efforts, all of my efforts were a waste, get out of that mindset. Switch it up and change it. Now it's time for you to be the alchemist. Now it's time for you to step into the identity of the alchemist. Turn all of that into gold and look at the benefits. You have to make a decision to do that. So, also what we have to remember, I'm looking at notes, that's why I'm looking down. We also have to remember that our genius, our dreams, what we desire, all of that is tied into our calling, our purpose, our purposes, because we don't just have one purpose. That's why, and I still hear people asking this question, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to be and exist in joy. Okay? Your purpose is to explore those things that you gravitate, that you have a natural infinity toward. So, for example, I've always had a natural affinity toward fashion. That is a part of my purpose. That is a part of my calling to exist here. That is a part of how I'm supposed to exist here. That is a part of my essence and what I am to exude while I'm here. So what strategy does, so we've talked about comparison. We've talked about how we cannot negate all of our efforts, regardless of the outcome, the external outcome, because there's internal work that was done. And best believe your internal work, it will expose itself in the physical. And that is a good thing. Okay. Then we also have to be careful that in that force that strategy can bring, we cannot forget about our calling. And I mentioned this earlier. Part of our calling is to embrace our essence. Part of our purposes is to embrace our essence. And we have to know that in that, to get to the next level of our lives, to get to that dream, that we have to follow joy. We get to follow joy. We can actually have fun in the process. We forget about that. Why? Because there is this idea that says, okay, you've got this dream, you've got this vision, and then what do we hear? And we drive this home into kids' minds all the time. Well, you gotta work hard for it to mean something. You gotta work hard and grind and struggle. No, you do not. No, you do not. It gets to be, that takes the fun out of it. You get to actually have fun. Since we're talking about, I'll use business, you get to actually have fun building your business. You get to actually do the things that you enjoy doing while you're building a business, which will build wealth. Because the more that you get to bring in your essence, the more that you get to be at ease and in flow. Do you not know that the more wealth you can build? Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But so that's what I want to say about strategy. And I also want to remind you, if you are searching for a strategy, number one, look in the mirror, because you are it. But if you still feel like, well, there's just, I do want to kind of just see, something that gives me a step-by-step. Okay, fine. But ask yourself why. If you do find a step-by-step strategy, if you do find some blueprint, if someone gives it to you in advice form, maybe it's not on a piece of paper, maybe it's in advice form, okay? Ask yourself, why do I need it? Why did I search for it? And then you can say, well, are there parts of this that I can actually use? Are there parts of this that are aligned with me? All right. So think about that. If you have any questions about this topic, if there is something that you want me to elaborate on this topic, let me know in the comments. If you are new here, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it, and until the next episode, cheers.